Welcome into Extra... Oh, it's a low shot for us, Craig, coming up. From the beautiful flowers to you.
Very inventive. I hope the questions are just as thoughtful. Otherwise, I won't be doing extra time. I was thinking about this the other day. I thought, I'm going to stop doing extra time.
Why?
The questions lately have been absolute guff.
Well, it's not your choice as to whether or not you do it, is it?
It's choice of answer.
It's part of your job, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Right, I tell you what.
Right.
If I don't answer any questions today, do you think I'll get in trouble?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's not part of my job then.
Well, but still,
Part of my job is to do the show.
Right.
This is just a little laugh.
No, this is still part. It's all incumbent, isn't it?
No, it's not.
It's all cumulative part of the show.
If I want to do this...
Oh, God, all right. Well, Frank and Shaka are here.
I'll go on a phone in.
It's late for Frank in France. He wants to go to bed. Doesn't need to hear you waffling on.
Old people don't go to bed early.
Oh, pardon? Old people go to bed really early.
No, they go late.
No, they wake up early.
How come Steve
just one thing. When you reach me today, to do the show just before we started, you say, good news, Craig is in a good mood.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm always in a good mood.
Yeah, you're right.
No, you know what he's in? No, he's in a good mood because he's chatty.
I tell you what.
When he's monosyllabic, that's when you know you're in trouble.
I tell you how my day goes, Frank. Right, I'm always in a good mood, and then I switch on the monitors wherever I am, at home or here, and then I see who I'm working with, and that determines how my mood goes.
What do you mean you switch on the monitors? What does that mean?
My iPad at home,
right.
It's ESPN's iPad.
Right.
That has been loaned to me.
Okay. And you describe that as a monitor?
As per the contract.
You describe that as a monitor?
Well, it's a monitor. I'll look at it.
It's a screen. It's not a monitor.
And I've signed a contract to have that at home.
Oh, God, you're showing off that you've got an iPad in your contract.
And none of you guys have had to sign the contract to have equipment at home. And I asked the question,
what is wrong with
why?
No one cares about any of this. Right, if Manchester City wins the 2 games in hand in accordance to Liverpool, they'll be 2 points ahead of Liverpool. Are Manchester City in pole position to win the title, Shaka?
Well, not pole position just yet. You still have to win those games. I'm going to say Manchester United are still in pole position.
Why?
This show's become a guessing game. How the hell when did Man United become a better side than Man City?
Well, that's what we're asking Shaka.
I didn't say they were in a better position. The question was pole position. And right now, United are joint top with Liverpool, same points, a game in hand. So that's pole position. I still don't think they're going to win the league, but that was the question.
Pole is spelled wrong, but we'll get over that.
Why don't we get... Where's
Frank?
Where's Dawn?
Shut up, Frank.
Well, I think, again, they have 2 games in hands, but they have to win those 2 games. But you know me, I think it's going to be a battle between Liverpool and Manchester City. So, therefore, I think Manchester City is not in the pole position, but it's one of the contenders for sure.
In your playing days, Craig, were you ever on a team that brought in many new faces in a short period of time, such as what Chelsea did this summer? If so, did it disrupt your team chemistry? What's happening at Chelsea when you were there, wasn't it? A lot of new faces coming in. Frank Leboeuf.
Yeah.
Zola.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was for the best at the time.
Yes.
Leboeuf, Di Matteo, Zola.
Yeah, did that affect the team chemistry? Did people resent all these foreigners coming in?
No. Well, even if we did, they wouldn't have known because most of them couldn't speak a word of English.
Right, Frank's made up for that now.
I tell you what, though, no, actually to that point, when I arrived at Celtic from Chelsea, there was a big turnover of players that summer. Tommy Burns had just left he'd been fired at the end of the previous season. Out the door went Paul McStay, who was the club captain for over a decade, injured, finished his career. Van Hooijdonk, Cadet and Di Canio all left to go to where the 2 of them went to England. Cadet went back to Portugal, I think. And so it was a big influx of players coming in, myself included. Then Matt Reap, Larson came in, Darren Jackson, myself, Jonathan Gould. There was a big list, Stefan Mahe from France. And then a couple of months into the season, because there was no transfer windows then, Paul Lambert came in from Dortmund and Matt Reaper came in September, the centre-half, the Danish centre-half from West Ham. So it's about 8 or 9 players come in, and to that point, we started the season very slowly. Lost the first 2 games, and it took a little bit of a while to get going, but not as long as it's taken Chelsea.
And then what happened? Did you win the title by the end of it?
We won the title.
And then who was Player of the Year for the football? How did Larson not get Player of the Year over you?
How did Larson not get Player of the Year? Oh, how did Larson?
Craig Burley was better.
How did Larson, Gascoigne,
That's it.
Brian Laudrup?
Oh, just all these players that you beat.
There used to be some really good players in Scotland. But my point is, there was a lot of players that got thrown in together, and it was difficult. But we couldn't have got away with being still off the pace. Where are we now? January.
Yep.
Because it would have been done. Rangers would just have romped the title.
With Klopp's comments on penalties yesterday, it's clear Manchester United lives rent-free in his head, Shaka. Are there teams that lived in your head during your career?
Yeah, the ones he was playing for.
Lived in my head. No, nobody wants to live in that head, let me tell you. I don't know. I think the toughest games I used to find were against Wimbledon for a number of reasons that we've spoken about on the show before, going on to South London, and then they were just, you just leave the field just battered and bruised. Never enjoyed those. Aside from that, you know, it is what it is, you know. I can't say anybody lived in my head, so to speak.
Frank, does Pochettino need to win the Champions League this season with PSG, or is it more important to get them playing with a swagger again?
Well, I guess the minimum we can ask him is to win the championship, the Ligue 1, and to see another type of willing to play together Paris Saint Germain. But you know, it reminds me a little bit of Roberto Di Matteo when he came. I think it was after Avram Grant was sacked, and you know, a guy, not maybe a legend of Paris Saint Germain, a legend of his former club, but maybe a good soldier, and somebody who won for Roberto Di Matteo the Champions League after like 3-4 months. So it can happen to Pochettino because, of course, the talent is there, the qualities is of course there. No, I don't know for the chemistry and if it's going to work. And but yeah, it's possible. But I don't think he's going to be sacked if he doesn't win the Champions League. I think they will wait for the season after.
Yeah, I mean,
it's why they gave him a 1.5-year contract.
Within the question there, the word "need" is the one that you could take out, because you don't go in halfway through the season and then need to win the Champions League.
Right.
I mean, he needs to figure out how he's going to manage these big egos and fit them in properly and get the defensive aspect of his game right. And then the following season, when they've had a bit of transfer activity, then the pressure goes on. This is a free hit for him. I mean, obviously, they're going to try and win League On. That's first and foremost. Which they should do. But the Champions League is pretty much a free hit, because even if they get knocked out early in the knockout rounds, you'll just say, wow, we need to make some changes here. So this is a free hit for him.
Shaka,
I'm talking too much.
Well, for someone who didn't want to answer any questions, you're answering all of them.
The questions have been half decent.
Oh, I see.
And I only switch off when they're guff.
Oh, lovely, good.
Which most days they are, as to be said.
Shaka, don't laugh, don't encourage him.
So he's not laughing, he's sighing.
No, it's Shaka's laugh sigh. Shouldn't the heat of underperforming signings be shared equally with the front office, Shaq, and player recruitment? I can't imagine Zidane being blamed for Jovic the way that Lampard is being blamed for Werner or Havertz.
I mean, a totally different set of circumstances. Jovic was brought in as a young player with an eye for the future and understudy to Karim Benzema. Whether he fitted in and contributed, you know, that would have been a bonus. But when you spend the kind of money that Frank Lampard did on Havertz and Werner, and put them on the kind of salary that they're on, of course there's a lot of pressure, and certainly a whole lot more pressure on Frank Lampard in that circumstance. I think I'm right in saying that Werner and Havertz are in the top 3 earners of the club, and if you're underperforming, then you have everybody in the dressing room kind of looking around, wondering about their own position. So it's totally different. Absolutely, Lampard and any misfiring signings need to accept the heat.
An Americanism, that, isn't it, front office?
Yes, and there's an Americanism.
So, didn't Real, you'll know this, didn't Real Madrid win the league last year?
Well, yes, I hope for you know that as well.
Well, there's been so much going on.
Right.
So here's the difference. Right. Whether he brought whether he brought in any of the players, Lampard, or whether Zidane brought in any of the players, when you win the league like they did, nobody's too fussed about anybody who's come in, who's sat in the sidelines.
Yeah.
Because you've won the league, so you were making the right decisions by benching him or bringing him on when you did. It's only when you're losing games and under pressure that people start looking at the signings, particularly the big money ones. So the two managers that have been referenced here have no real relevance to each other, because if Frank Lampard wins the league, which he's not going to do this year, but if he was to win the league at some point and he was to leave the big signings out, he could go to Abramovich and say, we didn't need them.
Right.
But at the moment, Abramovich is saying, what's happening with... And why are you laughing?
Because I got the final question. I don't think I want you anywhere near it. Shaka, do you think with the talent the US men's national team has at the moment, their players playing around Europe with big teams, they can be serious contenders for winning the World Cup in 2026?
I'd like Craig to answer this question, please. I'd like to nominate Craig Burley to answer this.
I'm going to... Well, you nominate me and then I'm going to nominate another 3 people.
Frank, what do you think?
Well, you know what? It's crazy for a country, even if soccer is not part of the big culture in the US. I think for a country with that amount of population that they have, they should be able, if they really take it seriously, to be contender for World Cup every 4 years. It's like for Mexico as well. You know, when you have so many people, I think 30 million people play soccer in the US, where only 3 million people play soccer in France. So it should be possible to build something to make sure that every 4 years you're a contender. And that's, so if they take it seriously, if they really do academies like they should do it and prepare the youth like they should, yeah, in 2026, it's 5 years from now, it's possible.
Well,
you know where the World Cup is in 2026?
Yes, it's here in the US.
It is.
So the answer is the US have started to produce some really good young players, right? We know that,
yes.
Right? But you got to look around some of the big countries and see how many top quality players they've got. So they're not going to win the World Cup in 2026. They are going to qualify through this abysmal qualification called the Hex. But some people
and they're hosting 2026.
Yeah, but some people over here think it's a super difficult qualification. It's not. But there will be some US analysts who'll say, well, why not? Rah, rah, rah. So it's good to have some really good youngsters.
What do they do?
We can win it, folks, and when we don't win it, you're all going to be upset because I told you we can win it. No, they're not listening.
Craig,
Yes.
can I just say one thing?
Oh.
Remember in 2002, South Korea, I don't want to make mistakes here, South Korea prepared for a year the World Cup and finished 3rd, beating Italy, I think, in a quarterfinal. So, you know, why he shouldn't be possible?
That's kind of different, because USA did that in '94, Frank, but now they've got real players in Europe, the likes of Reyna, Pulisic. They're not going to pull them for a year and put them all together in like boot camp so you can go and win the World Cup.
I will. I don't think I'm being controversial here. The US will not win the World Cup in 2026, but they might have they potentially could have a good competition, which might mean getting to, I don't know, a quarter-final or something, but yeah.
Well, Craig, thank you. What privilege it's been that you've answered questions today. We very much appreciate that. Thank you to Frank and Shaka.
Well, that's some decent questions
Be sure to join us tomorrow.
By our
massive games tomorrow. Manchester United against Manchester City, plus AC Milan against Juventus. Lots for us to discuss. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.